Right, okay, what we're going to do today is to applique on our top piece of fabric to our bottom piece of fabric, which is the base for our cushion. Before we did this, what we've actually done is bundle webbed our top piece to our bottom piece. Now we did that so it holds it in place. However, it is a glue, and if you wash this, and this is washable, after a certain amount of time, what's going to happen is the glue is going to disintegrate. So we need to have stitches in place that will hold our design into place, because otherwise it becomes a little bit of a choking hazard, which we don't want. Now, for the first time, you're actually going to be using the zigzag stitch. Now, the zigzag stitch looks like this. So the first thing we're actually going to do is to set up the sewing machine to allow us to create that stitch. So here is our balance wheel, and this wheel that's smaller and is lower down is actually our stitch selector. So we're going to pull this towards us and you'll hear it click, and what's happened is this red mark has actually moved along to see, and we can see that it's selected the zigzag stitch. But that's not the only thing we do. We actually also have to check the width and the length. Now the width is supposed to be 5 at 5, so we change that, and the length needs to be at 1.5. So we would change it. Once we've done that, this sewing machine is actually set up to do a zigzag stitch. Now, applique is quite a difficult process to get right. The top of the triangle of the zigzag should actually only go through one piece of fabric. It shouldn't go through both pieces. If it goes through both pieces, it will actually affect your level. Now, the way that we actually control this is by using this presser foot. Now the presser foot has quite a wide gap in the centre, and that's actually where the needle goes through. When we're putting our work into the machine, what we want to do is to make sure that the outside edge of our fabric is lined up with the inside edge of the gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure it's all nice and lined up. I'm going to place my presser foot down, making sure that it's locked in place and it can't move, and then very lightly what I'm actually going to do, without much guidance, I'm just going to put my foot down, and as long as I'm keeping the edge of the material in the right place, it should work perfectly. Now as you can see, I've actually just got to the corner, so what I'm going to do is, using my balance wheel, which is the big wheel on the side, I'm going to pull that forward, and it's going to put the needle into my fabric. Now I'm doing that because it's actually going to hold it in place. I don't want it to move away freely, because then I'm just going to have to start a new row of stitching. But I am going to lift up my presser foot, and I'm just going to swing this round, and then I'm going to place my presser foot down, and again I'm going to go. Now you would do that for all sides of your object, and now obviously you wouldn't turn corners like this if you were sewing a circular motion, but it's always good to know. And when you finish your stitch, make sure you do reverse stitch, which is pushing this button down here just for a couple of steps, and then lift your presser foot out. Make sure your needle is at its highest position, using the blade to cut away. Now you can see the top of my triangles are actually just punching one piece of fabric, not all the way along, but quite consistently.